On this episode of Spill the Tea with LLIB, we have the driving force behind Clarity Matters, a communications specialist and content creator, Claire Quant.
So Claire, spill the tea on what the journey as a woman in business has been like for you so far.
Okay, so up and down, I would say, like most people, if we were all honest and open, then I think for me, there have been times where it's been incredibly lonely. And also when it's been just incredible. And my journey, I've had several careers. I'm not one to stand still. I like to try new things. And my background is in PR and journalism. Mm-hmm. So I went back to university, having done a stint in London after doing my A-levels. Where the streets weren't paved with gold at all. So went back home to my mum and dad and went back to college and then decided that I wanted to be a journalist and went to one of those awful career days where I was told, no, you can't be a journalist because everybody wants to be a journalist. There's too many of them. So that was almost like, oh, thanks very much, because you've just made me more determined than ever.
Love that.
So off I trundled to be a journalist. I did my training on a local newspaper, and then after 5 years of being chief reporter and news editor, I moved over into the corporate world and became a press officer, and then moved into communications and PR. So that was my journey that far. And then I had children, life takes on a different perspective altogether. And I had this yearning to work for myself. Yeah. That feeling deep down where you really know that there's something else that you either should be doing or want to be doing. And I knew that I wanted to work for myself. Yeah. I'd had a few life-changing things that had happened to me, quite massive life-changing events, and I became quite intolerant of rules and regulations, and I realised that actually working for myself would be the best option, really. I would have myself to answer to, obviously clients I'd have to answer to, and I totally get that. But in 2016, I decided that was it. Yeah. I'm going to set up on my own. And I set up a PR agency, just a small boutique PR agency, which I ran until the middle of last year, at which point I decided that I wanted to do something because my clients were mostly female and they were asking me questions about themselves, about their business, and I was drawing out I suppose the journalism background was drawing out more answers from them about their personality. What was their vision? What did they want to achieve? How did they want to be seen? And it was creating a totally different genre to what I'd been doing. Journalism, PR has changed completely, and I think if you're not in the major cities, the Manchester's, London, Liverpool, it's a very different ballgame to when I started out. And I was being more and more drawn and helping women with their vision and their values and their messaging and how all that came together in their branding. So I niched and I changed my business last year.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Wow. So an evolving business.
I am an evolving business, but I think we're all evolving
100%.
anyway, aren't we? And
100%.
I think the person that says that they don't want to change just stagnates, and doesn't get out there and find new ideas, new challenges, new people. And I think I was struggling to find my tribe as well. Yeah. And I'm happy to say that when I found Leading Ladies, that I really did fall into my ideal group, really. And things have gone from strength to strength, and I think I've embraced that as well.
Yeah. I love that.
So can you share a pivotal moment or challenge that you faced in your career that ultimately led to valuable lessons or insights for your business journey?
Where would you like me to start?
I know. Every day there's some sort of feels like a pivotal moment, doesn't it?
So I was working in my corporate job, and I'd got up for work. My husband had got up for work. Normal day, 2007, January, and I'm doing a press launch, and I get a visit from a police officer in work. Now, ironically, I'd actually been doing a launch with the police and the ambulance, so I thought it was a bit of just somebody coming to play a bit of a prank, and asked me my name, my husband's name, and unfortunately, he's been involved in an accident and we need to get you to the hospital ASAP. So I was blue lighted out of the office with my handbag and a friend that came with me. And sadly, my husband Stuart passed away 48 hours later. He was 42 and I was 38. Now, we'd been on a journey of IVF and we were about to go to do our 5th round of IVF treatment. And he had the papers in his pocket the morning that he crashed because he was going to be ringing the clinic in Spain to see where we were up to and how we could move things along. Sadly, everything just went, well, ironically, crashing down around me. Everything that I'd ever dreamt of, all my dreams, my aspirations, my husband, everything just was wiped away like that. And he was just the love of my life. I didn't think I'd ever recover. And he was, I think, the pivotal point for me to live my life for 2 people. And actually, that's what I did. I travelled. I threw myself into studies. I went to go to Sainsbury's one evening. I turned left and went into the university and signed up to do my degree. So I did a degree, got first class honours in 2 years in media communications and writing. I then put my dissertation in, met my now husband Martin at Tesco's in Wrexham. And
Tesco's a pivotal moment then as well.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to say there is a happy ending because we now have twins. We've got Tilly and Elliot, and they've just started high school. And we all have different chapters in our lives, and they are just one chapter. You are the book, and we've got different chapters. That chapter with Stuart closed, but we always carry him. We talk about him at home. We always carry him around everywhere in our hearts. I curse him very often, and we just live our life because you have to. And I think if anybody learns anything, it is just go for it. Follow your heart. Don't worry about tomorrow. I know there are practical things that you have to worry about. And, you know, I'm not saying get into financial difficulties or anything like that, but really do just, if you've got the gut instinct that you want to do something, you want to go and work for yourself, you want to travel, you want to homeschool, I don't know, anything like that, just go and do it. Yeah. Because, you know, you don't know what's around the corner. I didn't know what was around the corner, and life can literally change on a sixpence. So there are happy endings. Yeah, it was incredibly sad, and I didn't think I would get through it. But you do. I think it's quite difficult for those that are watching you go through it, and I think sometimes it's worse for them because you're cocooned in shock and everything else. You're just busy just trying to keep yourself upright. So yeah, just build your dreams, follow your dreams, and just love your life, and just never take anything or anyone for granted.
Yeah. Well, Claire, I think you should have gone last because I think I've just ruined my makeup, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I think you've answered the next question in terms of what advice would you give to somebody else going through that situation. So building a successful business, does take calculated risks, and we know this. Could you share a risk that you've taken in your business that you think that would help our audience if they are just about to take a risk, or they are thinking about it but that something's holding them back?
Yeah, I just mentioned earlier about feeling isolated sometimes when you're on your own, working for yourself, and actually feeling quite lonely. And I'm a real big people person. I do like my own time to myself, but I get a real buzz out of other people's ideas, other people's successes and what they're doing. And I get really excited about it. And it was about 2019, and I was going a bit stir crazy at home, doing the same sort of things. And a job came up in a local hospice to be a community officer. And I thought, that's going to engage me with other people. Yeah. It's going to take me in a different direction. It was only like 2 days a week. So I can do that, and I can still run my business because I still wanted to keep my business going. And so I went for it, and they said, oh, there's somebody else who we really like as well, and we think you'd work really well together. Will you do a day of PR and a day of community engagement with us? And she'll do 2 days. Oh, perfect, yeah. So that was a win. But had I not taken that risk, that wouldn't have happened. Yeah. I then went on to get that contract for doing their PR. Throughout the pandemic. That actually came to a natural end last year. But by doing that, I also got one of my most lucrative contracts for a crisis management incident that sprang up in COVID. And again, that wouldn't have happened. It's a bit like sliding doors, isn't it? It wouldn't have happened if I hadn't taken that calculated risk to go out, because I could have gone back into that environment and not wanted to go back into my business. So I did weigh up the options. I didn't just jump straight into it, but I think it was a good move. And I made some new friends. And again, working in a hospice it's very sad, but they're such heartwarming places. They're such uplifting places. And I had the empathy because I'd been in their shoes where, you know, I was going on to wards and interviewing patients and their families for the magazine and stuff like that. And it was like, I know what you've been through. I've been there. So I feel that I can ask the questions because I almost know what you're going to answer. So I'm quite empathetic like that. So that was a good calculated risk. That came to an end last year, and it was the right time. So we move on, and we move on to the next episode, as we say.
Yeah. And I was listening to a podcast at the weekend as I was doing the deep clean of the kitchen. But it was the happiness expert, and he was talking about the death of his son and how that affected him, and how he went on to go and write books because his son really wanted to be in the hearts and homes of everybody.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He was on Stephen Bartlett's Diary of the CEO.
Unbelievable podcast episode it was. And he was talking about how interviewed later on, if people would choose for those bad experiences not to happen, you know, or for things that have happened to them, if they wished that again, if they knew now what they knew then, whether they would change things. And, you know, but in changing that, it would take away all that's come afterwards. And they were saying, you know, 99.9% of people would choose to go through that experience again, knowing what they know later on, because of the things that have come since, and the relationships and the, you know, the children or the job opportunities. And I think that's really pertinent when we talk about taking calculated risks. At the time, it's a risk, but when you look back afterwards, I think, do you know what, everything does line up for a reason. And you know, it's hard to take that jump sometimes, isn't it? But,
and I think often the fear is worse than the actual reality. And I think if people appreciated that more, they would be a little bit more daring and actually take a few more risks that would bring them massive benefits. I mean, look at me, I wouldn't have Martin and the twins in my life. If I hadn't that hadn't happened to Stuart, God rest his soul, and I hadn't taken the turn into Sainsbury's that night and gone to do that degree. So, you know, sometimes just things, I'm a great believer in things that are actually mapped out for you, and things happen for a reason. Yeah. And there was no way that I was going to give up on that dream to have those children.
And there they are.
And here they are, yes.
Love that.
Yes.
With their own incredible lives mapped out for them as well. Oh God, it's been a hard one.
I've never cried on an episode, so you've just got your first.
Can you share 3 tips in your niche that you know will support women in business who are watching this episode? So thinking specifically about that PR and communications, like what can we do?
So I think one of the first things I would absolutely say, without a shadow of a doubt, go back to basics. So many of my clients gather Facebook pages, Instagrams, their messages are all confused. They don't know what to say because they are confused about what they stand for. They're not sure how their brand marries up with their vision and what they want for their clients and their customers. And I think you need to take a stand back. If you do nothing else and you learn nothing else from this, go back to basics, pare everything back, and not start again because you've got all the fundamentals, but look at what you truly want to be saying, how you want to be saying it, and then you can start to build solid foundations for fabulous content that you can repurpose. And I'm a great believer in, which takes me on to my second one, of repurposing content for various platforms, but not just social media. Your elevator pitch, you know, your presentations. If you're doing things like this, you know, if you stick to key messages, I have a golden thread that runs through all the brand strategies that I do for my clients. And once you identify that, it becomes a lot easier. So you can actually make things a lot less complicated. Yeah. And I think we have a tendency to overcomplicate things as well. So so that would be my second one. And my third one would be find your tribe. Yeah. Find your tribe. Find the people who are going to shout for you. You know, I know people who do the same thing as I do, but that doesn't mean that we're against each other. So very much with networking, I found this a bit strange that you can't go to somewhere if somebody else is doing the same thing as you. And it sort of just blows my mind a bit. And I'm thinking, well, we are all unique. And again, you need to develop your unique, authentic
I think
self.
You need people. I would love to go to a networking event where there's more therapists, so I can talk about the hard stuff, talk about the challenges, talk about the great stuff, talk about the diary I'm using. You know, I want to go to those networking events that I can genuinely speak to people who get it in my niche.
And there are brand strategists, there are communications experts, there are content creators out there that are doing a similar thing to me, but they're not me. Yeah. And I am not them. And for one client, for what one client wants, I might not be the right match. And vice versa. And I think it's, and I have people saying, do you know of any networking groups I can go to where they haven't got a photographer? Yeah. I'm thinking, why? Yeah. You're really limiting your opportunities.
The referrals.
But not only that, other people can inspire you as well. You can learn so much from other people.
Yeah, well, that's so true.
So, and I think, and again, if I was going to have a cheeky fall, on number 4, it would be self-development and read and absorb all the free stuff you can, because there's lots of great people out there giving out free content,
100%.
Giving out free, PDFs, all sorts on different things that you might need, but you will find useful. So you don't have to spend a lot of money either, because it's tough when you're in business, and it's tough times at the moment as well. So don't jump headlong into things. Just, see what's out there and tap into your friends and your networks' knowledge as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to tap into your knowledge now.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if I was to create a PDF, it would be on this next subject.
Really?
Probably, yeah. And
So
in
you're a
terms
qualified
as well,
teacher, you're a qualified Senko,
I know.
you've got so many, and then you'd make a PDF on this.
I would,
Do you
yeah.
feel that strongly
And
about it?
I do, and I feel like when Claire spoke then about stripping it back and getting back to basics, that this is one of the fundamental basics in life that should be taught well.
I've cried on this episode, so
I know,
be gentle with me.
Yeah, I know. I do feel bad about that, but
No,
not
you
bad
never
enough
cried
to,
with me. Like, you need to
lose.
just pretend to cry next time with me. Like, and Claire, like, come on, we all need to just cry.
I cry in my tears.
I'm such an ugly crier, so please just someone just cry with me.
Right.
But no, and thank you so much for sharing that with us as well. Just going back to that really quickly. I think that was a journey for you, and that was something really personal, and you didn't have to share that. So we really, really appreciate you sharing that, because it shows how raw and how real this podcast is, and how open we are, and how that's about building relationships, and that's our brand, isn't it? I love that. Go on, Cal.
Yeah. So in terms of building relationships, this can take you one step closer to either me or Claire. It's a tough
I've got
one.
a funny feeling I know which way this is going.
So if you were to make the perfect cup of tea, Claire, for either me or Claire, I feel like there's like too many Claires. How would you make it?
I'd probably boil the kettle several times. I'm a bit OCD about the kettle.
So it's got to
which
be
is why
really
we've
hot.
got a ludicrously high electricity bill. But yeah, I can turn to get the milk and I still put the kettle back on.
Yeah.
Tea bag in the cup.
Yeah.
Usually a Yorkshire tea. And then hot water straight onto the tea bag. Punch it about
Yeah.
as they, you know.
Yeah.
And then check it on the teaspoon. See what colour it is. Take the tea bag out. And put the milk in.
Oh, Claire.
Oh, Claire, I'm not
And
even...
my
proper
bestie.
builder's brew. A proper builder's brew.
One that you can trot a donkey on.
Yeah, well, yeah, never heard that before, but yeah.
Not me. Not me.
So that would be my...
Sure, Claire, I feel like I need to
perfect
change
cuppa.
my, just for what you've spoken about today and how emotional I am feeling right now, I'll just change my tea for you.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. Until the next episode.
She's got back to basics.
There was
I don't
a
need to
plan
write
for
a
that,
PDF.
That was the plan. I will break her down so she changes her tea.
But you know, you would be able to make a fortune out of making that perfect cup of tea, you know, on a PDF.
Would I?
Yeah, of course you would. People will
Yeah,
buy
because it's
anything.
not actually
God.
on any of the boxes anymore. I had to look in Tesco and I made Alan film me looking at them to send you. I think I did actually send you it. No, I didn't. I put it on Instagram, tagged you in it. And I went through the PG tips and the Yorkshire tea, and nowhere could I find the instructions. And Cal, that's a go-to when we're on this podcast. It's on the back of the... No, Cal, it's not.
I have
You could pitch
Googled
it to the Americans. They'd love
Yeah.
to know how
Yeah.
the Brits
They put
make
it in
a
the
perfect
microwave
cup
and
of tea.
everything, don't they?
Yeah.
Like they
I
put
feel
their
like this
hot
is a new
water.
business sideline for me, just
I
opening
think
up
we should.
right here. I think we need to, now that we're business besties, we need
Yeah.
a good meeting on this
Yeah.
PDF.
And you know, one of our
Use
next
your Welsh
guests,
tea bags.
one of our next guests will be able to record it for you as well. So you'll even have like the recording of making the cup of tea.
Oh, my
as well.
word.
I know,
The whole job opportunity has
There you
opened
go.
up for me.
I mean, the perfect cup of tea is actually drinking it in peace, isn't it?
That is the perfect
yeah,
cup of
yeah.
tea.
While
Yeah.
it's still hot
That is.
and not left
Yes.
for 3
Yeah.
minutes because of 4 minutes,
so
5
I
minutes,
usually
10
get
minutes.
halfway down and then it goes down the sink. So
Yeah.
I'm making another one. But
There you go.
Yeah,
Well, Claire, you've
such
been
is
an
life.
amazing guest. Again, thank you
very
so much for
having
sharing
me.
such an
Loved
inspirational
it.
journey.
Thank you.